That's right.
Yeah.
Perfect example. Ask yourself, where do you send your kids to get educated? Then you tell them to go get a degree. The degree is only the VIP pass to get a job with the oppressor.
And to show that
we always say that. We always say that. Oh, we're gonna send our child to school and they're gonna come back and bring back to the community. They never come back.
That's not the training.
They never
come back. The level of training is to create and employ a sophisticated slave. So they know when you try to assimilate into their culture that there's a level of your culture that you may be ashamed of. This goes with me everywhere. I don't have to say anything. And what I've done is I've created a market where all I have to do whenever I deal with them, it's in commerce. There's a table separating me from them. I don't go to them for anything. I turned into a commercial affair. So anytime they interface with me, it's through commerce. They're buying something from me. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not dealing with them in any other aspect of that. If they want to talk, we could chop it up, but I have to remain in proper persona. I have to remain who I am. You feel? Because they're really trying to be like you, and you're really trying to be like them. That's the dilemma that our people face these days. They're not comfortable in their skin like that.
So how do we get other people to see something different? Or how do we get?
It goes back to what we're saying about the fact that this is a beautiful thing that we see right here. That we have a new community. We have a network. We have a group of different groups of different schools of thoughts and disciplines who are coming together. At this point, there's time to draw the line in the sand. Through our demonstration, those who will be on the outside looking in are going to see, yo, the people are striving and surviving by themselves, and they're able to be themselves, and they're not working or slaving or, you know, basically in contract and things of that nature with the European. Everybody who works a 9 to 5 knows what's going on. They know the stress. They know that they're not the same as these people. You dig what I'm saying? They know that these people will bend you to, they will basically parasite and leech off of your energy and change you. So yeah,
what you just said, that was very interesting about what y'all all said about being white is right. When you and how they honor our culture, it's even in the law. Like when you go into the Federal Directive number 15, it actually tells you the classification of white. And one of those classifications is anyone whose origins or the descendants is of Middle Eastern Europe and North Africa. But then you go to black, it says anyone whose origins or descendants is of Africa. So they made a distinction between North Africa and Africa, but we all know it's the same. But then, you know, it's also interesting too, because at the end of the day, we all know that black and white was a construct that was created based upon certain history that took place here in America, you know, based upon the whole issue of slavery. You know, we wasn't always considered black at one point in time. You know, that didn't happen until after Shays' Rebellion, when they had the whole war, because, you know, you had certain people that were of African descent or who were classified as Africans, while some they were classified according to whatever nation they came to, and they were owning property and things like that, and they looked just like us. And then they said, you know what, let's create a construct. And that's when the black codes and those different things came into effect to kind of, you know, hinder us from what we were trying to, you know, engage into and try to, you know, make and manifest in America, you know. But that was just interesting that, you know, you made those points.
Like, hold on. No. Oh, thank you.
I just wanted to ask this. We were talking about money circulating in our community several times before it goes outside. How do you do that if you're in a community, maybe 80% of your community not even thinking like that unless we come together like this? How do we...
Now, what you know about and what I wanted to say, like, this is where, like, the scriptures say, the teachers shall not be backed into a corner no more. So what you're seeing is those teachers coming out. And what you have to be taught is why we're in this condition, which is where it's going to get foggy or combative to an extent when it comes to the conscious community, because in the conscious community you have many different facets of beliefs in the conscious community. Now, from our perspective, we're going to show you in the Bible why we are cursed the way we are cursed. What I mean by when I say that, when you go to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, it says in there that a nation going to get very high, you're going to be very low. They going to lend to you, you not going to lend to them. Because we're not following the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord gave us. Like, there's no direct answer that you can get for the conditions of blacks and Hispanics in this country except for in the Bible. You're not going to find it anywhere else, whether you call it Torah, Tanakh, or the Bible. That's the only place you're going to go. So now, where do you go to get fixed? You have to go to that same book, And that same book says that there's laws that you have to follow. There's conditions that you have to meet. Now, you meet those conditions, you'll be out of the problems that you're in. Like, I don't have them type of problems that everybody else has, but I'm not selfish. So because I'm not selfish, these men that you see here, we sacrifice our lives. These brothers drove all the way from Philadelphia to come up here, and then they're going to go home. NASI came all the way from Atlanta to come up here, and then he's going to go home. So there's things that you do, but no matter what we do, if we're not following the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord laid down, we can have $1 billion and we will fail as a nation. Or we can have $5 and we'll live as a nation. Because it's not measured by money. It's not measured by finances. Our life exists with the laws that we follow. Don't believe me? We've been here 500 years. There's no plan that has worked for black people. Not one.
And that's true. And look at what we're doing today. You got vendors who generated money, right?
Yes.
A lot of them generated money. But we did it off of the back of a debate. Have we ever looked into taking this building to teach our schools, our children? When you have all your children here, guess what? These same vendors can be here because now this is the central location in the community of where everybody's coming in. It doesn't have to be this place. It could be any kind of place. And we could take steps and stages because, like you said in the beginning, we're going to bump heads. But let us work kind of at things that we agree with, and we understand that we're teaching just certain positive information, and then at the later all the other stuff will be refined because we won't get nowhere right now when we definitely just we try to separate on our differences. But what I'm saying is, as collective thoughts, this debate is good. It's beautiful. I learned a lot today. But put that same effort into teaching your children. The books say teach them diligently when you walk by the way, when you sit down, when you lie down, when you rise up. It's telling you consistently teaching them. When you send your child off and you see why they're going into the streets, it's because they deal with epigenetics. Everything that surrounds them influences their subconscious. And they're going to, because of the empathy neurons and the empathetic neurons, they're going to want to fit in. Your child is only want to fit in because he doesn't want to be scrutinized. He don't want to feel different. So he integrates and does certain things that he doesn't want to do, or he does stuff that's against you because everybody's around him are doing a certain things. So this is a natural process of evolution that this child is evolving into to adapt to his environment. So this is science. If we don't understand that we have to take our children out of there and get them away, we're going to lose every single child.
We have the opportunity at this point in time of all of our lives to actually remove ourselves from the situation that we're in. Like, this is very possible. And we have many different ways to do it. You could do it digitally. You could remain in a community online or a network where you're utilizing the connections online, a global community, and you empower yourself economically. I'm able to get empowered economically online through residual income. I'm a network marketer, I'm an affiliate marketer, and I have multiple brands. So I wake up to money. I make about $80 an hour on a good day. I don't feel compelled to go amongst anybody and compromise who I am. So I see certain solutions. That's not the end all be all to where I'm taking it, but I'm seeing certain kind of solutions. Now, what we have to do after the debates are we have to do conventions. You dig what I'm saying? We have to have seminars and workshops. There should be a rule that's set that if we come into any kind of event, whether it's a debate, whether it's any gathering where money is taken from the door, we should put a allotted amount of money to the side to at least start one business that day. It only takes $500 to completely start a business, a few $100s to incorporate, a few $100s for a website, and a few $100s for some inventory. Why is it that we're not doing raffles or lottery at every single event that we come to? Not for the adults. What about the children? What about the young ones? Bring your child with their idea or their invention. Do you know that there are 11 and 12 and 13-year-old billionaires being made from online by dealing with technology? Who's talking about technology? Huh? Nobody is dealing with that. But even in the scriptures, even amongst our triad or our trinity of modern day consciousness, Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, all of them spoke about the embracing technology, that being something that we're fawning over technology, dealing with Kemet and other places, or the aliens from thousands of years ago. But nobody is taking advantage of what we have right here. So we have to remove ourselves. I sent the brother a website the other day, businessesforsale.com. I don't know if he got to look into it, but they're selling factories. They're selling factories with the workers and their client list for pennies on the dollars when you're a network, when you're a community. So if 500 of us showed up right now and another 500 of us showed up online and we all gave $10 each to a treasury, not to one person, to an account, we could begin to build ourselves up. You dig what I'm saying? There has to be people with 800 plus credit amongst us. So that way you create a consortium, an economic group, and we go places the same way that they're invading Harlem, that they're invading Bed-Stuy, that they're invading Chicago, Atlanta. Everywhere that we're at, they want to be amongst us and buy up all of our property and real estate and open up businesses. They do that as consortiums. There's busloads of Europeans, correct? They pull up in Harlem, they hop off and they have 700, 600, 800 credit. They picking out buildings and all of that stuff, and they're becoming landlords and lords over. They're strengthening, you know what I'm saying? Somebody must have taught them the game, because they're strengthening their slavery upon our people right now. What the hell is regentrification? They're strengthening. You understand what I'm saying? That spell against our people. So it is imperative at this point. No more time to play. We have to come together. I love the debates. I love to see my brothers sharpen their swords, but I'm waiting for the convention. Jacob Javits type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? What Garvey was doing, where we got a whole booth, a whole presentation with the Israelites, a whole presentation with the nation, a whole presentation with New Covenant, Queen of Four, all of our master teachers. I don't even think we realize who we have amongst us at this time. And we might be a little bit, pardon me, we might be spoiled a bit, especially New York. We might be spoiled a bit because we don't realize who is amongst us. Wait till they talk about us in 50 years from now. We'll realize, and I'm sure even in certain eras, the Garvey era, they didn't even realize, but they were just doing, they were guarding. They didn't even realize the magic of that era. They just was building. It's time to build. It's not impossible.
In the 80s, we had what was called the II, the Israelite Institute, and it was the Armory in Brooklyn over there. We had the whole Armory in Brooklyn. We had our own school. Our children were going to colleges at they was 13. But the problem was that we send them off what? To college. See, because we had groups and communities, and in our communities, we were all one. But what happened is when they went off to the colleges, they moved out of the community to move in better locations, and then the communities just fell apart.
Because they influence.
It's all based on
They're now looked at the influential because they have letters behind their name. So the influential will influence the masses.
And then you look down on everybody else because you got a degree.
Exactly. And influence those who are 11 and 12, and they're looking at your actions and how you move, and they become influenced by your behavior. Now they're like, F that. We ain't sticking around. We want to do what they do. We want to go move to Beverly Hills with our little certificates and whatnot. So Dr. Umar Johnson has a crowdfunding campaign. You know what I mean? And I wanted to get into the technology, but we got something coming up in August, me and Sutek, where we're going to build further on how to utilize technology to build the network, to enrich the network. You dig what I'm saying? But one of the most profound, prolific things to come amongst us is crowdfunding. It's a technology where we utilize the numbers that we have to basically say, like Umar Johnson is saying, I need $5 million to open up a college for our own people. I'm talking about all of y'all could become professors. All I need is $5 million. I got 5,000 friends on Facebook. Do you know it's $200? 200 times 5,000 is 1 million. Simple mathematics. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. 5,000 times 200 is 1 million, and the brother only needs $5 million to secure a college so we could homeschool. Because remember, the children that are, when you see the stories, the children that are 12 and 13 going to these colleges, they were all homeschooled. They're not going to college at 12 from going to a public school. This is something that's going on in the house, so we have to continue higher learning. This is the master. This is beyond college right here. The Polites, the TAZARYAHK, the ISUPK, what Brother NASI is doing. We need a building for them. There's not even a building built yet. All of those DVDs that you see lined up, those are master scholars, for master's degree. There's levels to this shit. So there's something beyond that. So all we need is our building at this point. This is ancient Kemet with the Library of Alexandria and all of that, Timbuktu and whatnot. We resurrected that.
Let me ask you this. When people have sicknesses, where they go?
To the hospital.
They go to the hospital, but who's really curing them? The conscious community. Young brothers, 30 years old, that's playing with the information. Playing with these brothers are playing with the information. Imagine if they were sitting down in laboratories and we really gave them everything. There wouldn't be nobody sick here. The resources.
Imagine if we had
with the information.
Imagine if we had a building 3 stories like this where there were beds. There were reflexology. There was an organic kitchen. There was a farm in the back. If anybody had an ailment, do you know what they're doing to our people in these hospitals? Like, do you know what's happening with the hearts, all of these heart attacks? Do you know they're cutting wombs out like it's going out of style? Do you know the horrors that are taken? Do you know the #1 killer of our people is malpractice? It's a chop shop. You dig what I'm saying? If you get sick, you compromise. If you eat the food that they selling in these radiated foods and all, you getting compromised. You're gonna wind up in their institutions. They can give an F about what it is that you talk about, how deep you are. You got to come see them one day. And they got that nice white jacket on with the smiley face. You feel me? And if you don't got your day live glasses on, you won't realize that's the Grim Reaper smiling at you. They washing our people up. So #1, we have to have our buildings of healing. We have to have our buildings of learning. You understand what I'm saying? We have to have our manufacturing factories. Like, I need a factory at this point. You dig what I'm saying? I need machinery. I watch a thing on cable called How It Works. I love that program. That shit opens up my mind. Everything is being done through those big machines. Where's our machines at? We pyramid builders. Huh? It was prophesied. It speaks about our powers and what it is. Like the brother said, if we stop playing, everything will change overnight. I guarantee you that. I mean, like this. You dig what I'm saying? If any artist comes out, they going platinum. If anybody has an idea, they coming up with at least $1 million in funding. If anybody got some land that they acquire, they got $1 million already. They got people who's experts in horticulture. They got men that till the land. They have our builders, people who will build property on it, our architects. All of these things are possible. We just got to come together and stop playing.
I think, in regards to what you're saying, I think that should become customary, because as the brother was saying before about how there's laws in these different things. These are customs. These separate us from everybody else, and that's another problem. That's the reason why we keep falling behind, because we're not practicing our customs the way that we should. Everything that you said, that should be customary. About schools and hospitals and people practicing medicine and people going to school for law and agriculture, and all that should be customary. Like it shouldn't. It has to be.
It's headed there. I just want to balance the energy real quick, family, and introduce. Yes.
Yeah, no, all right. Yeah, we're gonna be letting out. It was a pleasure, meeting everybody. Of course, as always. Met you, Nasi. I'll see you on Tuesday. Pleasure meeting all y'all. And I'll just end it with everything that the brother said is a pipe dream if we don't keep no laws, if we don't have no identity. And what I'm saying by that, we got to stop. Once again, we'll bump heads like Nasi said. You got to work it out. But we're not Muslims. We're not Africans. We're not Egyptologists. We're not none of those things. We are the children of Israel. Period. Point blank. If you want to prove me wrong, show me how Deuteronomy 28 chapter fits anybody else but us. Show me why we're the only ones in this condition. It's tons of nations in this country, tons of them, but we're the only ones that can't get out. And you can't say we don't have money. Crackheads get high every day.
Yes, they do.
Drug dealers make millions of dollars a year off of crack, dope, heroin, cocaine from junkies that are minorities, not just junkies that are white people. So you can't even say that it's not money. This is spiritual while we're in this condition, and until we address that, it won't change. All right, shalom.
Shalom, brother. Shalom. Indeed. Could we just have, I want to bring the goddess on and let her, add on. We were talking about economics, you know what I'm saying? I just did a summit. We came from a summit in January that was powerful, where the brothers were actually showing and proving. So, and you do your thing. I just wanted you to, just share with the family. Some words of wisdom.
I was just actually building with this brother earlier, and I'm like, everybody really just needs to stay in their own lane. Like, you got to figure out what it is that you were here, what you're put here to do. Really basic stuff. It's not deep or anything like that. Like, in the school of thought that I was raised in, love is the first principle.
Yes.
So you put that on everything, and actually everything else won't even matter. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you say. It's because I'm staying in my own lane, and I stay with amongst the people that are doing things like myself. Anything else doesn't, it ceases to exist. You just don't give it any other type of energy. That's because you're focused. And I'm gonna keep saying that. Game, godly ability to master everything. We all have it. You gotta write it down, and you have to utilize it to the best of your ability, because the first government is yourself. It's your own constitution. We're suffering with issues of health, we're suffering with issues of education, and we're suffering from issues of relationships, our true commerce, where we bring forth the new generation. The new generation is actually our perfection. This is how we perfect ourselves, but we're not able to do this because of the system that we're having. So that government system is a home economic system. That is the sovereign system. That is the private side, where God, the Most High, Allah, whatever it is that you want to call it, is the head, N-I-G-G-A, in charge. I'm the HMIC, head mother in charge for the societies that I'm a part of, because that's my godly ability to master everything. However, when it comes to the private side, as a woman, you know, you're the government, the man is the law, you're able to do that, you're able to keep your children with you, you don't have to send them away for 8 hours at a time and things like that. That's government. If you have ideas and things that you want to do, you do that from the home. On the public side, when you have to do paperwork and things like that, anything that has to deal with the state, then you know how to do it civilized. We don't have to be like Black Power and all this, you know, we got to get our status correction. Matter of fact, you don't even need to be worrying about status and nationality and all these things that we're actually talking about right now unless you actually have game, because we're not in the competition. All of our finance, like the brother was saying earlier, like, we're rich. Trillions of dollars our community spends outside of us. Like, that's some serious hate.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? So
that's treason at the end of the day.
Right.
You pledge your allegiance and you vote with your dollar.
But it's really not treason, because we don't know who we are, so we're not against it. And that's what I'm saying. We got to get back to knowledge itself. We got to get back to being sovereign and knowing that, like the brother said, that's a spiritual thing. So you got to know what your nature is, and it is treason. But it's unfortunate that we don't understand that. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, we got to get back to love. Because when you start loving yourself and you decide that you're going to work on your game, then you're going to attract somebody. Actually, every single relationship, everything that we have is a contract. It's something that we decided on. So,
you know what I was saying?
You know,
because I was saying the same thing when we were addressing certain situations, and I was saying that it's unfortunate that a lot of our brothers and sisters in the conscious community were brought in on the wave or the frequency of hate.
Right. Yeah. Right.
They know not of love. They think love is soft. They think love is weak, not knowing that it's all about love. And I'm not mad at certain people, because this is the quote-unquote school of thought and knowledge. So you may be a freshman when it comes to certain information, but when you get to your higher degrees, you're going to realize that it's going to be love that conquers all. It conquers all. Yep. If I have love for my people, you will never defeat me in any war whatsoever. There's no way that I could be defeated. You understand? There's no way that I can't build. If we love ourselves, and that's the power of this network coming together. That's the power of these schools of thought coming together in this conscious community in the name of love. Forget everybody else and everything else at this point. Let's start loving each other, and then we'll see this thing change overnight.
Let me tell you this. Before they go out, if we continue to push hate to any group, we'll never master love. Because once you hate somebody, you focusing on them and they're clogging up your mind, and you're talking hate, that means you're sending the negative energy towards something, and you don't have that energy. You can't turn off hate. You can't be out there screaming like F the white man and he gets something in there and I kill him when I see him, and then go home and I'm peaceful. Right. There's no turn off point. You're right. You are what you are behaving like majority of the day. You can't click it here and stop here, and a body doesn't work like that. So how about loving everything or loving people? Yo, we may not agree with what the oppressor is doing, but the oppressor's in a situation that we're putting him in. Yeah. He's a left brain thinker. He's supposed to be in a subjective state, and we're putting him in a higher position. So of course course everything is out of order. Be mad at ourselves for giving this man the power and change ourselves, but love ourselves enough to know that we say we gods, then believe it. We haven't elevated to that state yet. We're less than human. We're less than human.
Lower frequency, and your lower chakra and your red chakra.
You teach people they God and they goddesses. You told them that they have accomplished everything already.
Right.
They have a sense of accomplishment.
But this is why I was talking about home economics. That's why I teach what I teach, because I'm like, when you deal with things on the private side and home economics, and we start dealing with government, then you know how to be civilized. If you teach love at home because you love yourself, you can go outside and work for somebody else, or see a white person, blonde hair, blue eyes, and don't have to be like fucking pig or something like that. You know how we do. So we don't have to do that. But because we have that inside, that's why we're able to do that. And because we're so hurt, we find out this information about white supremacy and all this consciousness and stuff like that, and we utilize that, but not in the right way. Like, we don't channel it to something positive.
None of us here know how to love ourselves. Not one of us in here.
You're right.
That should be the next debate. How to love somebody else. If somebody can prove how to love ourselves, because guess what? We are all the product of being victimized, and we repeat what is being done to us. And we're looking for vengeance our whole life, and in that we are assessing. We have hatred and anger towards everybody, and we're constantly. You know what depression comes from? Overthinking. Right. You're constantly thinking on negative stuff. You have nothing to do. You're constantly thinking about, oh, this person, why they look so happy when they did this to me? Why they look so, and I'm sitting here, I'm depressed. Everything. You know what it says? And Buddha says this. He says, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path.
You know what? I have to disagree with you when you said nobody here really knows how to love themselves. I've been through a lot in the past year. I actually sent a message out to almost everybody that I know, and I said, if I've offended you in any way, intentionally or unintentionally, I apologize, and I don't want anything. I just wanted to say that, because a lot of times we always feel as though we have to have some type of response. I didn't want a response or anything like that, and I had to start doing that, and I actually created that whole game, Godly Ability to Master Everything concept, so people can start writing out what it is. Like, we have books that I give the sisters in initiation. You write everything down that you love. What do you want in your man? What do you want in your house? What do you want in your job? Or how do you want to eat? All those types of things, and then you work with sisters to help you manifest those things. And I'm like, it's happening, and it's happening like this. Like, I can't control it, and it's because I finally decided to love myself, and I'm learning how to do that. I'm not saying that it's perfect, but I'm telling you, at 39 years old, it was the first time where she's like, you know what? I'm not gonna just be treated any old type of way. Nobody's gonna be talking to me any old type of way. But you know what? I expect I take my responsibility for my contract, because I understand that I put myself in that situation. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and
you wrote powerful, brother. That book helped me in my relationship. I mean,
as far as forgiveness,
ASAP. Let the family know about where they can find that book and some of the contents of that book that you put together.
The book is called Ancient Science of Love. You can get it on Amazon. The Ancient Science of Love is. I actually have. No, I don't have no here, but I thought I brought a couple. But you get it on Amazon. It's a good book. It's something I wrote because I went from a transitional stage in my life. I was that over-aggressive man. Cook me food, and and I had to realize that, you know what, my wife needs energy put into her. She needs fuel. And that fuel is a loving energy that you have to, when we say a woman is emotional, it's not a negative thing. That's who she is. And you have to learn how to feed them emotions. You have to learn how to be tender. You have to learn how to know that she's a woman of touch, and that just touching her alone and letting her know every time she walks past you, letting your fingers stroke her back or touch her thigh is something that a woman just feeds off, and that's the energy she needs. But we come in a masculine energy, and you notice lions, when they with their lioness, they're not warriors no more. But we take our warrior mentality into the house, and that's not where it's supposed to be. And that's one of the things that we have to understand. So a lot of things that we're taught as being the man is wrong. But we have to open up our hearts, and we have to realize that your woman loves you more than you love yourself. She cares about you more than you care about yourself. And that's proven. That's proven fact that anytime you would neglect yourself and she would step in and try to stop you from neglecting yourself, and you will overrule her with your ignorance to keep on neglecting yourself. You know, even if you was vain in any concept and you wanted these new pair of Jordans, you would go get them in your ignorance and just buy them. In your wisdom, you would go get your wife 2 pairs of shoes that probably cost half the price. Right. And when you come home, she probably bought you 2 pairs of Jordans. Because she invests more into you than you do yourself. So we have to learn how to use this energy, and we have to learn how to love our women and realize that there's a time in a day that if you look at lover in the eye and the face and see them in the casket and you know that they might not be here tomorrow, your whole concept will change about loving them. And that's one of the things that you practice. You want to have good old times. Your wife is supposed to be your best friend. Oh, did you see that girl? You like that? I mean, you just have to be able to share that emotions. And our men have to open up and be who they are and say who they are. If you're a polygamist, then don't put that in the front door. Let people know. Give them the option to choose. You know, I'm a polygamist. This is what I'm about. Well, let me think about it. I come with. You know what? I can't deal with that. You know, it's about being real with who ourselves. Because as a man, we were stripped of our identity too. So we're just finding out and trying to find out who we are. So it's all a learning process. There's so much stuff that we can go through. I mean, our women are in the social age where they're looking at stuff that heighten their sexuality, and they want to compare their relationships to the stuff like they read in what's some of these books named Cosmopolitan? No. The Grey, 50 Shades of Grey. You know, or they see things on Facebook about sexual things, and then when they come home and the man just comes and he rolls over and rolls and do 3 strokes and rolls off, then they're disappointed because they wanna live that excitement that they're reading about. They want to be a part of love that's just so strong. They want to see that you come home and they're so excited. So we have to recreate ourselves, recreate our relationship, and do things will take care of ourselves. Don't think he's supposed to love me for who I am and vice versa. No, y'all supposed to be loved in y'all perfection, and both supposed to be striving for perfection. Don't let people tell you different. I don't care, I've been with him, I had 20,000 kids, or he's saying the same thing, well, you know me and this and that. We have to strive for perfection. We all hitting them tracks, we all working out together, we loving them, we loving each other curves, we taking pictures together, showing our progress. We have to always love to strive and to thrive for perfection in our relationships. And if your relationship is not right, then go home and write 10 things on the list that you need for your relationship and have them write 10 things. And if they can't check off all 10 things, then you might have to consider doing something different, because you need your happiness and you need your sanity. And that's all I gotta say.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you.
Peace.
Say the name of the book.
Ancient.